What? You got news? Does it have to be like now? For reals? The first No More Heroes is getting ported to Nintendo Switch! Hell yeah! No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle is coming to the Switch too? Oh snap! That's awesome! Moe! Super Moe!
Recently, No More Heroes 1 and 2 have been ported to the Nintendo Switch, allowing newcomers to finally experience the series and veterans to play the games in HD and on the go with less jank. I've been playing No More Heroes 1 in preparation for a review, but while I work on that, I want to talk about the importance of these ports and what other game companies can learn from this wondrous occasion. To start off, let's talk about the reason this happened. As most of you know, No More Heroes 3 is in development and is scheduled to come out for next year. With these games being critically praised and having a continuous storyline, naturally, people would want to go play the first two before picking up 3. The problem is, No More Heroes 1 and 2 are hard to find games, along with being released on the Wii, which was 2 console generations ago. So the best choice for the consumer would be to port 1 and 2 on Switch, which they did. Now why is this somewhat easy decision so important? Well, there's a simple explanation for that, and that's that not many companies like to re-release their games. Of course, you'll have your Resident Evil 4s and classic Sonic games to get re-released on nearly every system, but that's not the norm for most game series. Now sure, I could go out and buy the old systems to play these games. It's more convenient and consumer friendly if they just re-release retro games on modern platforms digitally, especially since the UK never got games like Parasite Eve for strange 90s gaming reasons. Thanks to the internet, audiences both young and old are discovering interesting classic games they've never played before, most of them being part of franchises they're already familiar with. For example, many new Persona fans started with Persona 5 and are now hungry to play the classic Persona games, but they're stuck on last generation machines that they can't access. Luckily, these guys got a Persona 4 PC port and it sold really well, so maybe there's hope in seeing Personas 1 through 3 be re-released sometime soon, especially if the SMT3 remaster does well. My personal first-hand experience of this problem is when Trigger Conroy started Let's Playing Pokemon Coliseum, and I really wanted to play it, so I had to grab a GameCube controller, a memory card, and the game, which cost me around $70+ when it was all said and done. Imagine how easier it would have been if GameCube games were on the Wii U Virtual Console, so I could just drop $20 to play it while the company still made a profit from my purchase. And Nintendo and their frustrating re-release practices. In the era of the Wii, 3DS, and late Wii U, they did an amazing job re-releasing classic games to the Virtual Console, and now with the Switch, at least they're porting the good Wii U games for a reasonable price of $60! But they're old games, why would you price them like new ones? Is it because you're Nintendo and suckers like me will buy most Nintendo related products? Yeah, probably. Nowadays, there's 2 ways to play classic games on the Switch outside of the Wii U ports. You could subscribe to the lame Switch Online service with a bunch of jank NES games and to great SNES games, or you could buy into Nintendo's new hobby of limited re-releases of Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Fire Emblem, which is getting its own video soon, don't worry. But for now, let's just leave it that these are not convenient ways to play some classic games on the Switch. I mean, if Nintendo won't let us play with ROMs and emulators, can they at least sell us those ROMs and emulators? So with that context about how horrible re-releases have been handled within Nintendo and other companies, you can see why the No More Heroes Switch port and the Persona 4 Golden PC port are a miracle for gaming. And guess what? These ports sold well, and while they do cost money to develop, they're a fraction of the amount it costs to make a brand new game. If you consider that Grasshopper is a way smaller company compared to Nintendo, and the fact that they were able to commission ports of the old games in between developing No More Heroes 3 shows that there's no excuse for Nintendo and the other companies to not re-release their games on modern platforms. The whole ignorance of re-releases is just frustrating for me, especially as a Nintendo fan who wants to play some Wii and GameCube games I've missed out on. Though outside of Nintendo, things are looking up for the re-releases as Microsoft is flexing their legacy content on the Xbox Series X. We're still far away from nearly every game being accessible on modern hardware for every region, and with the way Nintendo's been acting, I doubt we'll get there, but stuff like the No More Heroes ports and Persona 4 Golden's success on PC gives me hope for the future of re-releasing games. Outside of my greedy need to play and buy all these games, video games aren't a well-preserved media unlike movies and books, so it's important that these re-releases are there so we can preserve the games for future generations. And if Nintendo and the boys are just gonna keep shutting down ROM sites, at least let us buy these games for God's sake.